Now we'll go in and take a look at dashboards and creating dashboards, which is a web page within a dashboard designer. So again, I've remoted on into my box. And if I come up in here and I find my dashboard folder, I'm going to right click, I'm going to go new, and we're just going to create a dashboard. Now when this fires on up, you select some type of a template. The template selection is not important, as I'm sure I've mentioned before, because you can come in and reach and change it out after you've done that. So let's just take 2 column, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to name this dashboard demo. All right, and we go back over to the editor. Again, I'll name this, well, let's put some content onto the page. So I'm going to expand out scorecards. I'm just going to grab a scorecard. I really don't much care. It's just to show you the dashboard. So I'll take the leaf and I'll drop it on over there. And I'll call this page with leaf scorecard. Doesn't matter, just a descriptive name. And now I'll click new page, and see I can pick a different one. So we'll pick rows here. And I'll say OK. And let's take the same scorecard, and I dumped it down here into my row, into my center row. And now I'm going to rename this with leaf in row. Clever. All right, and now I've got my dashboard, and if I come over to my properties page, I've got the standard stuff. If I browse in, I can come in, and here's my display folder. And now here's my document library, and if I click browse, I've only got one document library set up on the business intelligence site named Dashboards, which is the default. And you change we'll go with V4. And I'm going to say include the pages in the list for navigation. I can come down here and add custom properties, and I can add these custom properties, and then within SharePoint we can come through and we can do a search for them. But let's go through and deploy this. Let's save it first. And now we'll deploy to SharePoint. And there she is. List with scorecard, and here's with leaf in row. Right? And as you see, doesn't much matter here. All right. Now once I'm over on the page, now I'm within ASPX, and as you see up here, and if I come in here to page, and I pull down edit page, I could edit in SharePoint Designer, and I'm going to click this, and I'm going to pause because it'll take it a little bit to fire up. Okay, that page has opened up in SharePoint Designer with Leaf Scorecard ASPX, and now I'm down here in SharePoint Designer, and I can go through and I can make any changes that I want that apply into SharePoint Designer. Now, you must be very careful when you do that. We have an optional video at the end of this module, which will come through and show you one of the ways that the author, at least, has been successful in doing some modifications with SharePoint Designer within a dashboard within PerformancePoint content. So let me close SharePoint Designer again, and let's go back over to the browser. And we'll click off of this, and we'll come in and we'll take another look at this. I'm going to say deploy to SharePoint again. Okay, and the page is up and running. Now, I'm not covering permissions at all in this course, but you're going to need the proper permissions to be able to do that. But I'm going to go over here to the page, and now I'm going to go edit page, and now I have fired up my page in the browser. So I could come in here and I could add another web part. Let's show you doing that. I'm going to say add a web part in here, and now it takes me over to the different types of web parts that I have. And here's my PerformancePoint content. And let me find, here we are, PerformancePoint. And now I can add a PerformancePoint report, and let's add that in here. And now it's asking me down here the PerformancePoint part. And after you click add, here we are, select a part. Now click here to open the tool. And now we're down here into the tool, and I have to come through and locate these. My location will be within my document library. It takes a while for this to open, forgive me. And let's see, PerformancePoint content. Oh, good grief. Just a second. Let me do that again. So I'm down here in Performance Point Content. There we go. Thank you. And now we're in here and we're going to come in and let's add a scorecard in here. It really doesn't. Now let's add a something. Let's see. Here's a report. And I don't care. I want to pick a report. It really doesn't matter. Just to show you that we can do that. So we've added that report in here. Now we should have an OK button. Well, let's do the apply and then the OK. And it's good. Apply intimates an OK, but I'm going to say OK anyway. Okay, and now we'll stop editing, and if we clicked everything right, and we didn't, we should have a Performance Point report here. Let's go back through and let me see what I did. I mean, back here, back over to the tool pane, and this can be painful, by the way. Oh, okay. Here I gotta go back in the edit page, bear with me. Open the tool pane. Oh yeah, there it is. And if I come over in here, title Performance Point, that's fine. We'll browse on in, Performance Point content, and oh, I really kind of do want a chart. So let's take chart, and we're going to come through there, and within chart, okay, good. I should be able to double click it. Good, it picked it up that time. Location chart. Sometimes that ought to work. Sometimes this ID equals 13 is an issue. All right, but we're going to ignore that down here and just see if it works. And it didn't. See, this is not valid. It's actually the problem is that ID 13. Just a second, let me. All right, let me show you the error now that I remembered how to do it. So I've got this up. Let's again throw the error so I can come back in and fix it for you. So we're going to apply down here, and you see I still don't have my web part up. This selection is not valid. This is a little irritating error that we'll get within the land of SharePoint. So again, and actually you're going to have many irritating errors in the land of SharePoint, but I digress. So let's take this sales report, and what we're going to do is, see the URL, when I double click it, does not pass correctly. So you're going to just select the whatever you want to do. We're going to take this report. You're going to copy the URL. Control C, and I'm going to say OK. And now up in here, I'm going to delete everything. So I'm going to go home and just dump out everything that's in there. And then I'll Control V, and it pasted it back in. And you see it's this 13_.000. That usually works. Okay, and now we've got a chart over here in that we added, and I'm going to say okay, close this one out, and we'll stop editing. All right, and now there's our Performance Point part that we have here. So we added that in within the browser within SharePoint Designer. Of course, you need the proper permissions to be able to do that.